So game five goes back to Phoenix, and man, that might be it for them. That it might be a wrap. I mean, going back from Milwaukee to Phoenix, series is tied 2-2. Milwaukee clearly has the momentum in their favor. Chris Middleton finally found his stride. We were only waiting on Drew Holiday to get his game going, and he did it a big way last night. Giannis, he goes 32, 9, and 6. Middleton 29, 7, and 5. And Drew Holiday goes 27, 4, and 13. In the last 50 NBA Finals, they are the sixth trio to each get 25 points in a game. Um, I mean, very dominant, very impressive. They had a little rocky start in the first quarter, going down 16 points, 37-21. I wasn't I wasn't confident that Phoenix was going to hold that lead because if you look at Milwaukee's body language after that, it was kind of it wasn't like a very defeated demeanor. It was one of those, nah, we'll be all right. One of those shrug it off. First quarter's over. On to the second quarter. We know what we do. We know how dominant we can be if we lock in on defense, and that's exactly what they did. I believe within the next 5 or 6 minutes, that lead was completely erased, and they also took a three-point lead. Um, One of the things I was looking out for was Chris Paul. They've been talking about he has injuries. There's hand injury, there's ankle, knee. There's a lot of different things bothering him right now, but he hasn't made an excuse for it, which I respect that. But you can clearly see it's not the same CP3 that we've seen in the previous three rounds. Not the one we've seen versus LA, the Clippers, um, Denver. That's not the same CP3, but he's out there competing. He didn't have it going early, but he ended up uh, he had some timely buckets late. A three-pointer. He was left wide open. He had a jump shot over Giannis, and then he had a little floater in the lane against Pat Connaughton. We'll definitely talk about Pat Connaughton a lot in this video. If you're paying attention at all throughout this entire series, anytime Pat Connaughton is on the floor, Phoenix is gonna go at him. Whether you're Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, Booker, whoever he's guarding, that's who they are going to target. That's who's going to get the offense going. Um, for some reason, that all goes away in late game situations. They never stick to that plan. They never stick to the scheme of target the worst defender and go at him for an easy bucket. All that seems to go away. Every single time they step on the floor, that that philosophy completely disappears. I'm looking at the numbers right now. Like I said, Drew Holiday had 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 13 assists, but it was his defense the entire night. The entire night he was harassing CP all the way up the court. He was harassing Booker. I mean, even though Book had another 40-pointer, I mean, it's not easy. He's not taking good shots. Most of his shots are contested, let alone the 33 that he had to take to get 40. Granted, he made over 50% of his points, but that's not the level of efficiency you need to have to beat a Milwaukee defense. 17 of 33 is good for a regular season game, but if you're in the NBA Finals and you're going against a dominant defense like the Bucks have, if you're going against a two-time MVP, if you're going against a perennial, I mean, listen, he's not considered in the Defensive Player of the Year discussions or the first team defense, but Drew Holiday is quite frankly, in my opinion, the best defensive point guard in the NBA. I mean, a lot of people give credit to Pat Bev. I mean, Pat Bev is just an irritant. He can play defense, but his main source of income is his irritation level. So, I mean, I look at Drew Holiday, very solid defender. I believe he's like 6'4", 6'5", good say 215, 220, very solid. He can defend big guards, small guards. Sometimes you'll see him on threes. I mean, there's a lot of different situations that you put him in, and he's not uncomfortable at all. If you watch, I mean, I'm just gonna pull this up real quick. This is from I believe it's game three. Game three? No, I believe it's game four. Yeah, game four. All right, Chris Paul is coming down the court with the ball. Immediately, look at the two people he's targeting in this pick and roll. Like, absolutely makes no sense. You're targeting Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday, two of the best defenders, not just on Milwaukee, but the entire NBA. Two of the best. Defensive Player of the Year in Giannis. You're targeting him in a pick and roll in a late game situation, and you have about 40 seconds left on the clock. Now, I get it. Get a quick basket, you're down two, go as quickly as possible, but don't let your basketball IQ escape you in that moment. CP is one of the smartest players in the league. I don't know what he was thinking in this scenario. What I would have done, I would have cleared out my entire side. Granted, I have Drew Holiday on me, but I would have brought Jay Crowder from that far corner because look who's checking him, Pat Connaughton. I would have brought him over from that far corner, put DeAndre Ayton under the basket on that opposite block where you see Pat Connaughton standing. I would have put him on the opposite side, brought Connaughton and Crowder over to me, ran a pick and roll, and I would have gone at Pat Connaughton with the idea that Jay Crowder might be open in the corner if off the help, or DeAndre Ayton might be open under the basket off of the help from Giannis. Again, he constantly put himself in this situation. And I've been watching it the entire series. He continues to go at Giannis as if Giannis is not 7 feet tall with an endless wingspan, and like he can't play defense. There's only a handful of players in the NBA that should feel like they can go head up with Giannis and make Giannis feel like he's stuck on an island. I put LeBron in that scenario. I put Anthony Davis in there. Kevin Durant for sure is in that scenario. Steph was with his ability to hit from half court. Maybe Dame should feel that way. You know, like I said, with his ability to hit from the half court as well. Um, James Harden to a degree, he's gonna do that between cross as he step back into a 3 point shot. So that's very unguardable. So you'll put him in that scenario, but I'm not seeing at 36 that Chris Paul is going to break Giannis down every single time he wants to. I'm not seeing from Booker that he's going to break down guys like Giannis and Drew Holiday or PJ Tucker, who's been his primary defender throughout the entire series. I'm not seeing that from him, that he's going to be able to break them down each and every time up the court for an easy bucket. Now, the reason why I'm picking on Chris Paul in this scenario is because of what we saw from Devin Booker last night. In the same situation, coming down, you need a basket. Now, look, Booker has 40 points in this game. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, put in a position to get the last shot or go for a big shot or anything like that. But again, don't let your IQ escape you. Don't let it betray you in this situation. You come down in game 5, all right? You clear out, you go 1-on-1. You go 1-on-4. You attack PJ Tucker off the dribble. Nobody on your team is moving, so there's no other movement. Everybody has their eyes on you. Devin Booker is almost always going to attack left if he wants to get a pull-up jump shot. I mean, if I'm watching film, I'm sitting on that the entire game. I'm waiting for him to drive left. Now, he drives left on PJ Tucker. The help is on his left. It's Drew Holiday, and then underneath the basket, you have Giannis. You have PJ Tucker on you. So in this one play, you have the 3 best defenders on their team and possibly in all of the league, 3 of the tougher defenders that you have to beat. There's no situation where you would feel comfortable attacking that without any movement going on back door. You have Drew Holiday standing there waiting. Chris Paul has not moved. Same scenario. I would have pulled Pat Connaughton out of the corner, and I believe he was checking Mikal Bridges in this scenario. I pull him out of the corner, send CP3 down to the corner. Now you have myself, which in this scenario, I'm Devin Booker. So you have Devin Booker up top. To my left, I have Pat Connaughton. I run a simple screen. I get the switch that I want. Now, if you look at the court a little bit differently, you see Jay Crowder in the right far corner for the cross-court pass. You have CP3 on the strong side because 9 times out of 10, the help is going to come from him because, like I said, Devin Booker wants to go left for a pull-up jumper. If he doesn't get that, CP3 had a 3 pointer previous couple possessions, also a floater, also a layup. He's very involved in offense. He's kind of, I wouldn't say he's on fire, but he's warmed up. He's gonna hit the shot if you throw it to him wide open in that situation. Jay Crowder is one of the best 3 point shooters in the NBA Finals, and I believe the only person that hit more threes than him, Pat Connaughton. So you have a safety net in the far corner. You have the safety net on the strong side corner. You have somebody under the basket that if you miss that shot, they can get they have a pretty good chance of getting the rebound because Giannis might in that scenario overhelp considering the late game situation and also considering the fact that Devin Booker has 40 points. So he needs to help. He has no choice but to come over and at least help contest just in case Booker gets all the way to the basket. In that scenario, I mean, you'll see it. Look, problem number one, you're only down 1 point. 23.7 seconds left on the clock. You're the one that needs the basket, okay? There's 17 seconds left on the shot clock. You don't want to get into a situation where it's like a 3, 2, 1. You don't want to get it down to there. But you need at least 5 or 6 seconds to get the court to look the way you want it to look. You want to get your team set up for you to be able to make a play, not necessarily score every time, but to make the right basketball play. If I'm looking at the setup right now, going back to the beginning, if I'm looking at the setup, I have Devin Booker, ISO on PJ Tucker. Chris Paul is at the top. He's not moving. DeAndre Ayton's around the free throw line. He's not going anywhere. I would have switched CP3 and Mikal Bridges first, put DeAndre Ayton at the right block, moved Jay Crowder up a little bit higher to where he's around where that YouTube TV sign is saying, moved him a little bit up so that if I do drive the lane, I have a clear pass across the court to him. It's going to be a long shot considering Chris Middleton is probably not going to leave home on that situation. So I'm betting on Chris Paul being open on the left-handed drive because Drew Holiday is going to have to help off of him to help Connaughton in this situation. What in the world is happening right here? Cross. Didn't even let the offense set up, but the defense is set. Turned his back. Drew Holiday gets the seal. Up. Easy money. We're going back home 3-2 lead. And the thing about it is, yes, they're young. Chris Paul should know in that situation to let him know to get a good look or set the offense or something of that nature. There should be some level of communication coming up the court. Even if you don't have the ball, Chris Paul is still the floor general. Granted, Devin Booker is the best player on the team. He has 40 points. He's on a roll, having a big night. You still have to remind him, as a young player, slow it down, get the shots you want, let's get everything set. Because we've seen in the past, he does not do that. And that's a mistake that he continues to make that he has not learned from yet. So at this point in the NBA Finals, Chris Paul should have said something in that situation. But again, you have to be aware you cannot let your IQ escape you. Like I said, 17 of 33. That's a good regular season number. Yeah, 40 points. That's fine. But in the NBA Finals, you need to get better shots. You need to be in a better quality set if you want to go ISO. If you want to go ISO, that's fine, but make sure you have the right matchup that you've been targeting all night long. Majority of Booker's points were scored against Pat Connaughton. If you look at last night, he hit a step back three, hit a floater, hit a driving layup. He went back door a couple times. When the defense turned their heads on the backside, he was able to get to the lane, drive right by him, hit a couple step back threes over Connaughton. He's been doing it all series long. Why, in the late game situations, you feel the need to attack Tucker, Holiday, Giannis, Middleton? They're great defenders. You want to get the worst defender on you, get the switch, and go get a bucket. Simple basketball IQ. You make it harder on yourself. So now you're looking at a 3-2 deficit. You're going into Milwaukee with a raucous crowd, and Milwaukee is 8-1. So you make it difficult on yourself. They might walk out with a championship.